What is up, rap attention YouTube? Welcome to the day we take this video car. Man, video and car. The day we take this car to Cars and Coffee. It's actually not the same day, but we're within 24 hours going to Cars and Coffee. For sure. I'm not losing any more battles. And we never really lost a battle. Might have had a setback. Bringing in the infantry. Getting some more stuff going on. So, the car. Right-hand drive. RX7. FD. I rebuilt this engine. New Apex seals. Used everything else. Researched the housings. Gonna get some good test data on this thing. Okay? Street port. The last video, we had a bunch of these cheesy old helicoils come out of the lower intake manifold. Fortunately, my neighbor Tim has got a helicoil kit that's metric and the right size. Not that you couldn't get this at a parts store, but he had it. Dropped it off with me when I got home from work today. Pretty stoked. But here's the deal. Y'all are sitting here like, man, he's going to figure out how to fix this thing. We're just going to replace that intake manifold, or fix the intake manifold on the car. We're going to hopefully not drop anything down in the engine. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. Because we got a spare intake manifold. Now, if you'd asked me that I knew somebody that had an excessive FD-RX7 manifold just sitting on a shelf somewhere, I'd have told you no. That there's no shot, none of my friends have one of those, that there's no way we're getting by it, and I'm going to have to fix this one. Prove me wrong, because that's an excessive FDRW lower intake manifold. Look at that, same deal. This one's silver, but not a big deal. This one, also, as it looks, really doesn't look like it's been installed on a car, which means that nobody has had their way with these threads. So this one's perfect. So now I get to take on the daunting task of pulling this intake manifold off, ideally without removing the turb ski. So, if you've ever looked at one of these engines, there is an intake manifold bolt down here on the front, which I can see. There's one here on the front, which I can see. Those two are going to be the only tricky ones. The bottom two studs, easy peasy, and the back one's easy peasy. This has Allen head bolts to hold it into the block, multi-layer steel gasket, and then all I've got to do is disconnect the fuel lines and unplug the injectors, and the fuel rail, intake manifold thing should all come out. There isn't, there's only two studs at the bottom, so it should be able to slide around this turbo deal, and we should be able to rock it out of there. Then, we're going to take those injectors and fuel rail. We're going to clean this thing up a little bit, because it's kind of fresh off the mill here. And we're going to install the injectors and fuel rail on this one, and then we're going to put this one back on. And this one should be good to go. Threads fixed, ready to rip. Now, if you made it to the end of the previous video, you're going to understand why this is jacked up, and I think this is probably why they're broken in the first place. I did some research, asked around my rotary network of people, right? And the excessive manifolds are shorter than the stock REW manifold. The early casting ones or something about, they have a different casting now. My guess is because of this issue. It's not by a lot. My upper intake manifold was hitting these ignition coils, which are just the stock coils in the stock location. So last night I had ground these two casting nubs off. I think I'm going to have to sand this down just a little bit further, really only in this area right here. So I'm going to hit that with my DA, knock it down a little bit. And I really don't want to sand the coils, because if I sand the coil, then that means if you want to put new coils on your car, you have to modify them, and that's just not the jam. I'd rather have something modified to just fit a universal part. But while we have these manifolds off, and I can tell already, that casting right there is different from this one. The thickness of this upper flange, see how thin that is by my finger? Probably 1/4 of an inch. Look at how beefy this flange is. So, I'm just going to hope, because I'm not going to grind that off until I get the new manifold on, that this manifold, the silver one, is taller than the black one. So, let's get this off and get going. I got, get attached to things, right? I had to go get my second set of Allen keys from my paintball kit from back in the day. Used to play paintball. I'm the kind of guy that likes to have specific tools for everything. So, for example, that's the paintball set of Allen keys, and this is the exact same set. This is the mountain bike set of Allen keys, because you have, like, you on a bike trip, you take your bike keys. You go to the paintball field, you have a bag packed already, ready to go. You take that bag, it's already got Allen keys in it. So, I haven't played paintball in years, and I may have to cut down this 6mm Allen key to get this bolt out. So hopefully we'll just do it and no remorse. It's like $7. Let's get after it. It's like they knew people were going to install these on single turbo cars, so they wanted you to be able to take it off. How about fuel on my arm? All right, guys, the moment of truth. The moment of truth, the moment we've all been waiting for. Oh, yeah. This one, definitely taller than this one. Look, you can see the difference in the flange there. Thin, thick. You can see just pushed up against this box. This hole is definitely sitting lower than that hole by a good bit. Mega. Okay, pull this fuel rail, these injectors, put them on here. Make sure that these two gasket surfaces are clean. While I'm down in here, I'm going to go ahead and just pull this gasket out, and I'm going to wipe it off. So you can see it's got a little bit of just some soot around the edges. So wipe that off. This is also a good time to check. Look at that. No leaks on this thing at all. But since I am here and I am going to wipe this off, I think I might just smear a tad bit of silicone around both corners and jam it back on there just to ensure that we don't have any leaks. But stoked. Happy I could get that off without like a massive overhaul. If you noticed on this car, the primary injectors are now in the excessive manifold instead of in the lower block. I had initially thought when we put this manifold on with the half Bridgeport that was kind of part of why it was a little bit harder to start with the tune. It took a little bit to get the tune dialed in to get it to start, just because the injectors are shooting fuel in from so far away. But in researching this manifold, I found that it's super commonplace to take the excessive manifold and move the injectors up. It just simplifies your fuel system. You only have one fuel rail. Those are set up for top feeds anyways and good to go versus the like side feed stock style stuff. So it just makes it super easy. But I'm going to get this stuff clean. We'll get that put back on. We'll get the car put back together. Get this thing fired up. I'm taking it to Car's Cup. Alright, I'm going to bleed the coolant off. It's cold, so it's still on its high idle. And if I have the wrong tune in it or something like that, then I'll change that. But it's be good. I'm going to hose it around for vacuum leaks. I'll let you know what I find. Alright guys, it was still idle and high. I don't know why. So, got the smoker running. You can see smoke coming out of this. I got a little bit of smoke coming out of the throttle blade there. But I don't have any smoke coming from the lower intake. I don't have any smoke coming from the upper to lower intake manifold gasket. You know, like, I was worried sucks that it's raining. It's not silent in here, so I can't, like, listen for this. Because the smoke isn't excessive. Like, listen to when I pull this off. Hear the pressure bleed off. So it's definitely holding a lot of pressure in there. And you can see the smoke coming out of here. I found it. Super tiny leak coming from, y'all can't see it, there's a block off plate under the intake manifold. Definitely seeping out. That would definitely cause a leak. The only thing that super sucks is that I have to take the upper intake manifold off to get to that, which is really unfortunate. I'll show you that block off plate once I get it apart. That's definitely the source of the high idle. It's only like a 1500 RPM idle. It's not too bad, but it's enough to not be right. Alright guys, I'm becoming a pro at taking an FD upper intake manifold off. Let me tell you, 40 something times. This is where it's leaking, this little flange right here. It's flipped over. It's just, you can see my baby oil condensation. So got to pull this off, remake a gasket, because it doesn't look like this even has a gasket unless it's O-ringed or something. No gasket at all, just glued. So I always like to, even on this kind of stuff, these small block-off plates, is just make a solid paper gasket to go underneath it. That way you don't have deteriorating silicone causing leaks or RTP or whatever. Intake's back on. Let's fire this thing up. And by golly, if I got to take that thing off again, I'm going to be irked. Alright. Ready as well to be, right? Really? It's definitely still got a vacuum leak. What the heck, guys? Good morning from the Rad Ranch. Remember, always close your FD doors by the window frames. So it's a lovely cold morning. Getting ready to take this thing to Cars and Coffee, assuming it wants to go. I had some issues last night with the idle air control valve and getting it to idle. So right now the IAC is just disconnected. So we'll see how it starts. It's cold. Doesn't like it. She definitely flooded, not happy now. I just doesn't sound healthy, and I don't like that. I think that's what's making this thing a pain in the butt. This thing's not thrilled. Okay, because I actually want to go to Cars and Coffee. I'm going to take the rotary truck. Had to give the rotary truck a little shine up before we leave. Make sure clutch pedal pumps up. Watch this start. One pump. Fires right up. Cars and Coffee was good. Back at the house, figuring out this stupid FD. So, last night when I was messing with the idle air control valve, I'd flashed in a different tune. And then, it was warm, obviously. So I'm trying to see if I could get the idle down, because there's no vacuum leaks. There's literally none. I've smoke tested it again, so we're like good. The idle air control valve was making crazy noises, and last night, earlier in the video, the unplugged, it was idling fine, plugged in, boom, 3,000 RPM idle. So I'm not entirely sure. You know, I'm not a tuner, so I don't know tuning stuff, but I know that there are the two tunes I was switching back and forth between, that this is the one that it started easier on. So we're gonna see if this one is what we want. Start now, please. This leading plug is not wet. Very interesting. Alright guys, I was frustrated with this car. Couldn't get it to start. It still isn't done. But I decided that we took a break. We went home to my parents' house for Easter, drove the Corvette, went and rode mountain bikes. A good little like 24-hour vacation, right? Came back, we put a different hat on, okay? So we got a fresh thinking cap on. I swung through O'Reilly's. Shout out to all the businesses that are open on Easter, because I got some fresh NGK 7's and 9's. These are for RX8's, but they're really good plugs. So RX8 plugs ready to go in this thing, and I'm hopeful that we're just gonna slap plugs in it, and I omitted, you know, my struggles or left some of it in or whatever, and this thing starts, because this thing's been fighting me. And it was firing up good. It's starting good. And as soon as I put it like together to finish it and drive to Cars and Coffee, it didn't work. So we're going to get these plugs in it, and we're going to cut right to this thing starting up and running good, so that I can put the hood on it, and then we can go get the blue car and bring it in here and start on Little Stew this week, because we have T-minus like not a lot of time before Deals Gap. So please will this thing to start by the power of your guys' power here. Camera, witchcraft, rotary, please work and start. No way. Ah, cars and stuff. Yes, cars and stuff. Idle for me, please. Power steering pump. Well, it started. It's not enthused. The idle control valve is not enthused. It's definitely like stuck or something. Not enthused. I really don't like how this is going. I don't like I said, I'm not a tuner. This has got to be some tuning thing, or the IX jacked up. And I'm not a super expert, so we're learning. But I'm really thinking that the idle air control valve is jacked up, and that's what's making it not happy. You heard it hunting a little bit, you know, because I have the IX unplugged right now. I dropped the idle down, you hear it hunting. To me, the hunting sounds like TPS stuff. Gah! That and the laptop turns off whenever the charger's not hooked up, and it's a mess. Oh man, this thing's about dead. Alright guys, time for a test drive. I'm going to strap you guys on my head, because right-hand drive, nighttime, sketchy headlights, I need to not be holding a camera. Alright guys, we got the laptop in here. We got a power inverter, charge the laptop so it doesn't die. I have been turning it off and on, so it should start, and I have the crazy colored wire hooked into a charging block charging the camera, because, well, the camera's dying. We got cords everywhere. This is gnarly. Okay. This is no idle air control valve, so it actually starts pretty good. Oh shoot. Right-hand drive car, that's not the headlights. Brights, dims. Dude, I can't even see these headlights. These headlights suck. We're rolling with the brights on. Sorry, everybody else. That's dims. That's brights. And if we get pulled over, the cop is going to think we are an idiot. You have a flashy light strapped to your head with a camera, a laptop sitting passenger seat. You're driving a car that is on the wrong side of the road. Your bright headlights are on. The alarm's going off. And it's 8 o'clock at night. And you don't have a hood. Alright guys, the alarm's beeping at me. Sounds like it's driving okay. This car does have a good amount of miles on it. It's pretty beat, so it does have some thunks from the rear end and stuff, but so far still holding an idle. Always on your first test drive, I know you're just seeing blackness. Push the clutch in while you're rolling the first time, so if it dies, you can roll start it. Holding temp, we got good oil pressure. Clutch is super grabby. Definitely just blew a charge pipe off. Alright guys, we blew the charge pipe off. It's not the good one. This is the one that I don't have a tool to fix. Because that takes an Allen key. Or not an Allen key, it takes an actual wrench. But of course it's the one that doesn't have a knurling on it. All these others have like a, they're, what do you want to call it? Flared or whatever on the end so they can't pop out. We'll see if I have a wrench or something where I can tighten that. Otherwise, if you watched the previous video, you see all the places to check for oil leaks. Looks good. Sick. Richard's saving the day with a toolbox. Stoked. It's a turbo rotary.
What's it run?
It's probably about 350, 400 horsepower.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Oh, yeah.
First test drive. Made it here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good success. Oh, I just live right up the road. But just fresh engine, ready to make some changes and stuff. Yeah. Should have, cleaned it off so I could see. But
good luck with it, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. Am I still recording? Heck yeah. Alright guys, Richard saved the day with the tools, so that's a huge win. Car drove great on the way here. Like I said, this is the tune from before. I finally found the one that was on it right before we switched it to the half bridge. So it revs good, everything's good. Oil pressure's good. Everything's looking good. So I think we're ready to go. pull through second and third. Heck yeah! Made it to the gas station and back. I'm stoked. It started at the gas station too, which is a huge win. Y'all probably think I look really funny without a hat on, because I do look funny without a hat on. It's alive! And I'm stoked. I guess I can turn it off so you guys can hear me talk. But pretty fired up. And the alarm thing. So remember the alarm thing was going crazy? Look at this. Oh. Now I lost both. We lost all window control. Okay, it's an FD. So both the windows stopped working. At least they're not, I guess, is it better that they're not going or not? Either way, get fired up, guys. I'm fired up. The car fired up. Everybody's fired up. We're fired up. Stoked. So, the ultimate test is, can it make the drive to Nashville and back? If it can do that, then I'm ready to send it on its merry way. So, yeah. And those of you guys that didn't know or didn't think or whatever, as much as I would love for this to be my car, this is actually my buddy's car. We're just working on it, getting everything sorted. It's good content for you guys, and I didn't have to spend 40 grand on an FD to be able to make these videos. So, if you want me to spend 40 grand on an FD to make more videos about an FD for me, for you, then make sure you're sharing these videos, telling your friends, go support on Patreon, and I'll buy an FD if you guys make it happen. Like, really though. But for now, we're just going to play with my friends' FDs because they already own them, and I like learning stuff and fixing them, so I spilled my water, so don't mind the water messes. So, no big deal. Anyways, get amped for the next video. We're going to go drive this thing. I want to make sure, I'm probably just going to disconnect the boost line to the wastegate, so it's just making whatever the wastegate spring boost is, and cap that off for now, because we don't need it making, I think was making 20 pounds. I don't want to run this thing on 20 pounds, at least until like we get 300 or 400 miles on those Apex seals. Then we can turn the boost up a little bit, but I would say turn it up, just put boost on the gate. There's no boost controller on this car. So, yeah. We get fired up. It didn't fall apart, besides the pipe coming off. So, fire me up. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. As usual, drop any questions, any things you want to learn about these cars, this, that, and the other, in the comments below. If I don't have a video for you about the actual rotary engine stuff, building engines, doing this, that, and the other, there's videos on the channel for building your own engine. Like, there's not a lot of shops that build them, and if you don't trust them to build them, then do it yourself. I can teach you how to do it yourself, and you can learn. Now, maybe that's the most cost-effective way, maybe it's not, but, because stuff breaks when you do it yourself. But anyways, go check out those other videos, learn about these cars. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Keep it rad. We got to go get the dog from the house because we just went on a test drive. She was inside. Come here. Hey, come here. I know you're all excited. I was gone. Chill, 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 chill. Hey, crazy dog, chill. Hey. Hey. Run really fast if that's too much boost. Let's go. Guess 20 pounds isn't too much boost.